Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm looking at the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Clippers and determining whether or not I think the Mavericks are going to sweep the Clippers in the first round of the NBA playoffs. But before we get into that topic, question for those of you viewing, just a simple question. Who do you think will be the NBA Finals matchup? Who do you have representing the East and who do you have representing the West? It's a quick and easy question. But getting straight into it, if you don't know, the Dallas Mavericks are currently up 2-0 in the series against the LA Clippers, when the LA Clippers were kind of expected to not necessarily dominate this series, but definitely be the better team that would advance forward further into the playoffs. However, the tide is changing and Luka Doncic is just leading the Mavericks. And like I said, they're up 2-0 in a 7-game series. Right now, I wouldn't say the Clippers are going to get swept. I do think it's possible, but I also think it's possible that the Clippers have the chance to come back. I mean, looking at the Clippers roster, I know they're struggling right now, but they have talent and they have presence and they have leadership on this team. Might not have the leadership in like a LeBron, but playoff Rondo, he could definitely organize and guide a team. Kawhi Leonard, he's been here before. Kawhi Leonard, the year he won at the Raptors, before he got to the NBA Finals, he was down 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Milwaukee Bucks. So he's been down before, came back before, and he's won before. And Kawhi Leonard's in a similar situation. He's got a good forward to kind of back him up and help him out on Paul George, just like he did in Toronto with Pascal Siakam. He had a good, organizer in the point guard position with Kyle Lowry, and now he has Rajon Rondo or Pat Bev or whoever you want to give it to, Reggie Jackson. Kawhi in this Clippers team has the talent and roster and leadership to come back. Their big man is kind of, it's kind of a weird situation. You like Serge Ibaka because Kawhi had Serge in Toronto and they worked well together, but Serge isn't playing right now. DeMarcus Cousins isn't Boogie anymore, and you're kind of relying on Zubac. So definitely in the front court, you're not really having a great five to rely on, and Marcus Morris is not the same in the playoffs as he is in the regular season, and he's not a great player all around. But again, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Rajon Rondo, Reggie Jackson, Pat Bev. This is a playoff team that was expected to possibly make the finals last year, and they're expected to still be a contender this year. Now they're down 2-0. I just don't think this team will get swept. But, the Mavericks are doing their job as well. Luka Doncic, he dropped 39 last night to put him up on a 2-0 lead. Porzingis is healthy. They got Brunson this year. Tim Hardaway Jr. scoring 20. This team is very good, and I'm not, surprised that the Clippers are losing, but I will be surprised that they're swept again. I do think the Mavs will win the series. I think they'll win out. I think they'll send the Clippers home early in the first round, and there's going to be a lot of debate in the offseason about the coach, the players, who's going to get traded, who's going to get fired. Ty Lue, will he stay? Will Paul George stay? And the Mavs, they're just going to be happy as could be. Their future is bright. And, the Clippers, they arguably tanked to get the playoff seed that face them up against the Mavericks instead of going on to face the Blazers or going on to face a Lakers in the second round. They wanted this matchup, and it is not going their way. So I do think Luka Doncic, you could say he's the best player between the two teams. I think he's going to lead the Mavericks to win the series, but I don't think it'll be in an easy 4-game sweep. It might be a gentleman's sweep. It might take them in 5 games. The Clippers could push it to 6 games. And like I said, I still think it is possible for the Clippers to come back because the roster all around is good enough. Kawhi Leonard, their leader, is good enough, but it is just unlikely. I give the Clippers a chance to come back, but if I'm putting money on the line, I bet the Mavericks to win it. But as far as sweeping it, I just don't see it happening. I just think the Clippers are too good. Defensively, Kawhi is one of the best two-way players there used to be. His defense isn't as there, but it's still good enough to at least give this team a single win. Paul George, Pat Bev, Rajon Rondo, physical defensive team in some areas that I just don't see getting swept. Now, I guess they've gone down 2-0? No, I mean, I would not have guessed that they would be down 2-0, so you could say I might be guessing wrong about that not getting swept. But at this point, I just think the Clippers are going to be playing for this life, and, I feel like the Mavericks are playing with house money at this point heading into Game 3. I would not be surprised if the Clippers steal Game 3, and then the Mavs finish it out from there, winning Game 4 and 5. But if the Mavs go up 3-0, it's going to get real ugly, and then, yes, you start making concerns about the Clippers getting swept, but I don't know. I guess Game 4 or 3 and 4 are going to be in Dallas, and that's not what you want as a Clippers player, fan, whatever you want to call it, to lose both games at home. And it's not ideal to lose no matter where it's at, but I just think they're going to steal a game in Dallas at some point. There's no way in my mind, or to me, the Clippers get swept. I think they're good enough to still turn it around and win it. Like I said, Kawhi's done it before. And that was against a Bucks team that was led by Giannis. Not to take anything away from Luka, but I do think Giannis is better from Luka, so he's arguably done it before against an arguably better team. That's a debate for another video. But He's done it before, and it's not possible to turn the series around, let alone not get swept, but let alone win it. I don't see it happening, but, you only got to win 4 of the, 5 games left. It sounds pretty tough, but you could even lose one more game and still fight your way back. Obviously, I wouldn't want to see them go down 3-0 and then try and fight back, but if you win the next 2 and you're tied at 2-2 and then the Mavs win the 5th game and you're down 3-2, it's still possible to fight your way back in it. There's still some leeway in this series, as tight as it might feel, as over as it might feel, and as over as I think it is. I'm not surprised, just because this Clippers team, they're going to be playing for this life. There's so much pressure on their shoulders. Paul George doesn't step up. If he's still going to be playoff Paul, as in not good at all, then I would start being concerned. But if he could turn it around, if Rajon Rondo could become playoff Rondo, if Kawhi Leonard could just do his thing. He put up 41 last night. He did his job for the most part. You can't ask much more out of Kawhi. He's not, like the most dominant scorer ever, yet he still put up 40 points. That's pretty efficient for Kawhi. He's doing his part for the most part. And it's not like they're getting blown out. They lost by 6 points. The other game was still in contention. They're just not good at the end of the games. You could tell they're not dominating. While this game might have been close at some points throughout, you could still feel that it was kind of the Mavericks' pace the whole time. I felt like the Clippers were never actually controlling this game, and you thought, this is the better team. The Mavs felt like the better team, and they looked like the better team, but it's a 7-game series, and then we can finally see who the better team is in the end after all 7 games, or it could be 4 quick games. I don't know, but if you're asking me, if I'm putting my own money on the line, to me, the Mavericks don't pull off a sweep. A gentleman's sweep, that's a different thing. I think the Clippers could steal Game 3, and like I said, the Mavs finish it out in Game 4 and 5, especially just having all their guys back, and Brunson and Porzingis, and like I said, Hardaway's doing well, and Luka just doing his thing where the Clippers can't stop them. I think they could be a relatively easy series, but not a cupcake series where it's a 4-game sweep. Overall, at this point, the way these teams are, even if the Clippers turn it around, I don't see them advancing far into the NBA Finals. I think they'd get stopped by Suns or Lakers. Whoever emerges there, I think will probably be the top NBA Finals contender. And then even the Mavericks, if they advance this series and, go on to beat the Jazz, I wouldn't be surprised there. But I don't think either of these teams are going to go out and take down a healthy Lakers team to me. But we'll just have to see. Again, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the Mavericks will sweep the Clippers? Let me know. And who do you think will be the NBA Finals matchup? To me, it's hard to bet against the Nets and Lakers. That's the odds-are favorite. But I'm going to go with the underdog in the East. I don't want to call them an underdog, but I'm going to go with the Bucks. I feel like they're the 3rd best pick out of the East between the Nets, 76ers, and Bucks. Who's going to represent them? I'm going to predict the Bucks and Lakers to match up in the NBA Finals. But as always, guys, like I said, I do want to hear your opinions. Who do you have matching up the NBA Finals, and do you think the Clippers will get swept in just the first round? Of course, and as always, thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. 2-minute warning.